Hi everyone, this is Ellen Marie Francisco. Welcome to my channel. I wanted to do a special Canada edition today for the Canada Convoy. And I've pulled a bunch of cards. We're going to do the Celtic Cross. I'll flash it up on the screen so you can see it. But I'm very proud to be a Canadian right now. And I'd love to read some of the influences that are hovering above and through the convoy. So let's begin. Cards and where they're placed has meaning in the Celtic Cross as far as timing and where the influences are coming from. Our first card today at the beginning, the center of our Celtic Cross, is the Four of Swords, and fours are looking at what is our foundation built on. Third eye is lit up in the Lamb, because consciousness does hit you, the idea of being moved to move. Sitting quietly and still, even amidst the idea that much is happening. Fours are foundation. These are all foundational problems. And the Lamb is speaking, of course, about our vulnerability, of course, our young, our desires. Also, it's wreaking havoc on the vision that we have for ourselves, this card. So devices are represented by the swords as well. So this could mean surgeries of needles as well as the implements of war. So of course, this is a very interesting, poignant card to be at the center of this spread. Crossing it, of course, is the Nine of Cups. Now, cups are emotions and how our heart prevails and things that we must do. This card is what you get after all the worry and fear dissipates. You get the hope, you get a new phase of peace and harmony. So this is what's at stake here, our ideal serenity and peace, and our own identity as not only vulnerable beings but also enlightened beings. And diplomacy obviously is usually the way that we do things, so there is a lot at stake here, and there are sacrificial lambs as well. So what's interesting is, the image of this lamb. Does the lamb look worried with the impending doom hanging over its head? I don't think so. So once you understand your faith and you're tuned into your faith and you understand what that calling is and you're following it, it doesn't really matter what the doom is coming at you. You know that you've got what it takes to be aligned in a way that meets those challenges and obstacles. A lot of it is truth. Your emotional truth runs through you day and night, whether you own it or whether you don't, right? It is part of your energetic. So it reminds me that we do have a new moon on February 1st. So of course, this is going to tie into that as well. We've had, we've been through the full moon cycle when this thing would have started to get off the ground. So here we are coming towards the new part of the moon and the idea that we can have new ideas that we're working with. So I love that this card is at the base of the situation, the Four of Cups, because it like, oh, can you smell a rat anywhere, people? Hello. And it's affecting our emotions. And again, it's crying out for something new. Let's shed some light on this. Let's not forget. It's also a four. It's the energy of, oh, I thought I could get away with that. Oh, I thought I could get away with fooling you. I thought I could scurry away. Like, what a rat, spineless, right? So there are spineless individuals that are wreaking with your emotions right now, and that foundation is not one to build a country on. The other thing too, at the base of the situation, is there are a lot of supporters of these governments that are no longer supporters of the government because of these mandates and everything else coming in and having already come in. So, be careful of who you believe is on your side, because your popularity is waning, is what I would get from this card, basically. So the old foundation, the popularity of the old foundation is waning. It's not going to work. It's not the desired focus. what else do I want to say about Four of Cups? We'll talk about them in relation to the other cards as we go around, but as we dial around over to the Temperance card, coming along the wheel. Now, the Temperance card is always about trying to strike a balance with opposing forces, you know, water and fire, air and all of it. So how are you going to balance the natural elements? Canada is no joke in the winter. These are winter months that are very challenging on the roads, and also the outpouring of emotional support, I feel, is incredibly overwhelming. And I think it's interesting because a lot of times we'll be moved to take action, and we're so moved through the heart of the matter that we don't really think about the repercussions of what, you know, what's gonna happen, what's gonna transpire. And then here we go, running down the road, finding people that resonate to your passion and understanding that you're actually not alone, as well as, you know, the Temperance card often ties into the angelic realm as far as I'm concerned. This is a spiritual war card, and you've got invisible warriors, so sort of speaking to the Gandalf, Lord of the Rings, you know, moment. It's coming to terms with the past and generations of opposing forces, and also bringing them in together as a unified front. So from far reaches of indigenous communities and communities that may have shunned each other or held back or replicated themselves in ways that didn't allow for inclusivity and all the rest. I think this is the point. These are too many unbalanced forces that really do need to come in to alignment together. And you know, the ability to maintain your own internal sense of truth and integrity during these times of change are really important, as well as focusing on what's most important. And there are sacrifices that come, right? Like we can all fall into extremisms, but really we're trying to find the neutral, the happy path down the middle that serves the needs of the many rather than just the few. So Temperance always teaches how to understand and look at opposing views. So there may be new informations coming forward that show this in a different light, you know, in a more balanced perspective. So maybe where the media hasn't been covering it, it's going to be impossible to ignore, kind of a thing, is the sense that I'm getting from the Temperance card. It's like, okay, well, you've tried to quell that force that's coming. It's like a reckoning. It's a force of reckoning, but it comes as a peaceful warrior. So up above all of this is the Six of Swords. So, you know, after very harsh, sad realities are some whole new beginnings. Sixes also speak to family and home and harmony and nurturing. What is your idealism? Are you willing to stand up for it? Are you willing? Can your idealism be shared? How do you bridge gaps? There's a lot of magical innocence that comes with that, because it's like the disparity that many have lived with during these last 2 years. It really has been enough's enough, you know. So Canada doesn't have a great track record with, you know, the way it's implicated its peoples in diabolical situations, and the blood on the hands of the past from that. So it's not a stretch to see that that may be happening again in this situation, and that's the point. That's why so many have mobilized, is to hold. It's hope at last. And it's so here we are with a Six of Swords. These kinds of things must be cut out of ourselves and our consciousness, and the roots, right? If those are roots that are building, those are roots that need to be cut out. So the disparity and the chaos in the silence is really what looks to be coming for me out of this card. Funny enough, you know, the Six of Swords is also a travel card. It indicates momentum and movement. So the idea that we're talking about a convoy, yes, it is funny because I've seen this card interpreted as well as, hey, if you've been down in the dumps, a little weekend trip will do you well, and you can get on the road and lift your spirits. So think about how many, I don't even know what the number is of Canadians that have been out all week from the West Coast and the East Coast, but, you know, cheering these people on. You have given a ray of hope to a lot of people that thought that they were alone and thought that they were struggling in the dark without any hope of light. So here it is in the cold Canadian winter on the landscapes that are desolate and full of heart, nonetheless, coming around the bend. Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. Think of how many snowbirds would have been, you know, in warmer environments otherwise. And yet here we are in these harsh landscapes, finding a ray of hope. And here we are again with another 6. So it's interesting, right? Now look, okay, we back to the overall spread and when it's talking to us. We started with foundation, 4, foundation. We're moving around the circle and we're getting to our 6s here, where it is about family and home and harmony and nurturing our idealism and it rooting in a way that stabilizes. And it's funny because, you know, cups are also that sense of, you know, when you're living a half full life or a half emptied out life, and we've been emptied out enough, you know, and a lot of us have taken the soul journey inward already to dig deep into ourselves and find our own truths and our own understandings. A lot brewed under the surface, right? I mean, that's the cute thing about Canadians is they're, you know, they're a conservative bunch for the most part on the surface, but look at the depth and the color that they have. I mean, really, you know, they're well loved across the world when they travel. A lot of nations love them. And the vast country with all its lumber and everything else. I mean, the symbology behind the roots here, the roots of years past. I mean, it's just vibrancy, joyful and simple pleasures too, you know. So this is drawing a lot of pleasure. I mean, it's an arduous journey that is just ripe and ripe and ripe and full of just incredible nourishment. As cold and as harsh as those Canadian winter roadways are, holy moly. The next card in our Celtic Cross, 7 of Cups. Is a little bit of the as above so below card for me too. It's not always a welcome card because it can mean illusion and deception, you know, like what if you, oh my gosh, something that you filled your cup with is now turned over, you know, and emptying out while you flail to fill it with something that has meaning. And so, you know, I think this card kind of speaks to the attempts that we've tried to manage. Okay, we'll roll with it, the emotional intent. All right, we'll do our best. We'll do our best. We'll do what we can. Everybody wants to do, you know, hey, go Team Canada, right? I mean, everybody wants to do it for the team to a certain degree. But, you know, this card also, you know, represents the lies we tell ourselves, you know, like, are you drinking those in all day long? And are you willing to put that drink down? It also can point to feeling so involved in the emotion that you just can't, you just don't even know what to do. It's just like you're just bursting from like overwhelm, basically overwhelm as things roll up. And yet I really feel like the help, you know, the invisible forces moving through this are still going to be like, this is a thing, eh? You're on the road, you think it's desolate and it's cold and you're alone. And then, you know, you reach a clearing and just just, you have everything you need. So yeah, I think the emotional welcoming, it's just going to be really um phenomenally uh wow, like this is stuff national holidays are made out of. Two of Swords. In some decks, this is the card where the girl is blindfolded and she's got tools, but she can't really see what she's striking out against, you know? These are opposing forces coming up against each other and finding a new way to work with the energies. There's the card there. Two of Swords. Indicate sometimes a stalemate, like, okay, well, the progress wasn't made, so this is the only way to go about it now, is to just, it also can denote that things are being held below the surface, that not everything is being seen, and that answers are being blocked, truth is being blocked. So this could also talk about the fact that media would be underplaying this for sure. And it's almost like the opposing forces would be hush hush, let's sweep it under the carpet, and this force would be no, 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 let's bring it out into the light where it belongs. So there's a lot that's going to have to come into the light that hasn't quite, right? Like, I mean, there's still a lot of people in Canada that don't even know this is happening, and yet it's rolling right into town. So and next along our journey is the three. So threes are optimistic cards. Three of Cups, again, it's an emotional card. So this is this is a heart journey. This is an emotion. This is a peaceful warrior, birds of a feather flocking together. Let's raise our cups in the same way, and toast to, it's a celebration card as well, like massive amounts of celebrating. Finally, energy put towards a cause where so many didn't know what direction to go, and yet coming together is building strength. And again, the light shines on this. This is amazing. This is impossible to avoid as well. So Three of Cups talk to a wide and interesting close cloister of friends. So basically, every Canadian is your best friend now, trying to move this movement along and bring a unified resolution to a very big problem. So unique thinking too comes with this card too. It's also a kind of a coming to terms, like a culmination of so it's a success journey too, right? Like this card is a success journey for sure. Like you took flight, you did it. The movement took flight. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. So, and then five of Swords at the end of this reading, at the top of the Celtic Cross, after you've seen what is what's the heart of the matter, what's going on, what's crossing it, what's at the base of the situation, and what forces are you up against to break through? How are you balancing the energies? How are you celebrating the hope, the renewed hope? How are you expressing the renewed hope? What vibration are you holding now that you have hope? I mean, that alone is a phenomenal, incredible juncture point. And it is like the melt, is on. And what and what lies beneath the surface. Okay, so coming back up then to the Five of Wands, as it's fives are disruptions, fives are setbacks, fives are running interference. This is so this would be opposing forces running interference, as well as these hopeful, the hope that we gained with this card, it could be in question here because of how this is all met, from the government. So there is a cautionary sense of don't lose your focus, because you can be scattered without that unity. So it's so yeah, it's amazing, eh? So there will be disruptions to people who haven't really quite caught on that, wow, this is crazy and it's actually happening in Ottawa in our back door. So yeah, there will be disruptions, there will be spins, there will be down plays and off plays. But the fact is, power to the people and sticking together. It's just going to be hard. It's just going to be hard to ignore, my loves. It's just going to be hard to not see it. And wands also are our dreams and goals. So there is, so I think in the hearts of anybody doing this journey, as much as you've been enriched and emboldened with, fierce amounts of emotional wealth during this journey, and any of those just watching on the sidelines, knowing that you're in this journey as well in every way, this is a rich moment. This is a rich moment that not many will forget. And so don't despair in feeling from the overwhelm, the sense of it's a lot to process. Like if you're an empath and like it is intense to be feeling this. So so our dreams and goals are scattering, basically, right? Like this is what's at stake. Our dreams and our goals scattered in the wind, not the outcome that any of us want. So it is yeah. And it's like outward and inward, both working hard, internal forces and external forces. So do not despair. There is a lot of hope and support and energy from the heavens as well. As I'm tuning into all of this and I'm scanning the Canadian wildernesses and the roadways and the overpasses and all the energy of that, and in the interior cabs and all of the people that are taking part of this on the sidelines. It's ripe. It's very ripe. I want to pull, now that we've seen all those energies, I just want to quickly pull a few more cards, like a few days down the line. And of course, the cards that pop out are always great. So the strength card is coming up. So yeah, we're building strength in ways that we wouldn't have thought possible. And it's, you see, this is the thing about strength, when you build inner strength, which we've had to do for the last 2 years, every human on this earth has had to build inner strength they didn't know that they were capable of creating. And here we've sat silently on the sidelines wondering what is there to do? What can we do? How do we do this? And here it is. The strength is out. It's coming out. And the power, it's a powerful. I like that the infinity sign is on top of that card, because or the third eye, because we are by divine right meant to live our exalted selves in our worlds, and it is the world that tells us that we can't constantly, and it is our duty as divine right beings to live our divine consciousness in the best way possible, and we are meant to run up against the walls and run up against the roadblocks in our lives in order to challenge ourselves into those growth cycles. So anyone that has come into the light through this week and risen into this version of themselves and been willing to brave what you've had to on the solo journey, even though you're united with everyone doing it, it's just remarkable. I love that flew out of the deck. And yeah, and what else is falling out of the deck again? Flying out. So this is also flying out. So 5, so there is the potential for great heartbreak in these coming days. There is the potential for great sadnesses. But what's beautiful is it's like it's giving voice to itself, so it doesn't need to be alone as well. You can lead a horse to water. It's true they don't need to drink, but the fact is, these rivers are overflowing with the encouragement that, I just think it's amazing. So, peace to those involved. Welcome from Ottawa. I am not that far from the epicenter of this giant new convoy truck stop coming along. So I'm going to pull one last card and ask Spirit, what else do you want us to know about the Ottawa portion of the convoy? Oh my word. Woo! It's going to have a far-reaching impact. Good heavens. The Magician. Oh my gosh, that's the final card. What can the Magician do? Pretty much anything it set its mind to. It has all the elements, it has all the pieces, and it also has elemental force on its side. So that's the thing. When you reduce things to alchemy, the alchemy of change is the spark of change has come. The spark of change has come. And using all the tools at your disposal, using the harmony that you have, the strength that you've gained, and the peace that you crave. So this is magicians, I think, in the tarot deck usually is using your highest good, It's not. So the intent of this journey is to do the highest good and to regain the equilibrium, our natural equilibriums. And it's a 1. So, and the Magician card is boundless opportunity, boundless possibilities, and expansive energy. So whereas many of the major arcana deal with aspects of the mind, the Magician works based on action, right? First, it ponders and gains strengths and builds resources and builds its own sense of self. And then working from that new center point, it's able to focus in ways of it's also the beginning, Like 1 is the beginning. So it's action, Jackson, man. It's like a lot of being a peaceful warrior is just building your strengths quietly alone in your own life, until you're called to use them. And this is the point, all the people that have these magi parts of themselves that know that something hasn't been right all along, that something has to be done, that something needs to change, that something doesn't add up. We're tired of math that doesn't add up, You get knowledge from the universe. It comes in through your senses in every way. It comes in through the winds. It comes in through the earth. It comes in through the waters. So using the natural elements around you, build that force. And that's where it spreads. It's like the collective conscious is available to everyone. Any empath will tell you that. You can feel it with the heartbeat of humanity anytime you want. So this is the time to see yourself as, the wildcat, ready to pounce, ready to move all 4 elements of yourself into, a harmonized momentum. It's a harmonized momentum that is gonna, this is the thing. This is a little seed, right? Like this movement tried to get off the ground a year ago, and it was a little spark. And now this is an ignited flame. It's a force to be reckoned with. It's not going to end, right? So, and the Magician can have foundational shifts, right? Like the Magician has the ability, working harmonized with the elements in a harmonized way, to shift the unmovable, right? To melt steel, to do whatever, to build roadways, to build bridges where there were none. So I would use this card as a way to, whether you're on the convoy, sitting on the sidelines, watching and scoffing in horror, whatever you're coming into this convoy with as your consciousness, be willing to allow it to move through you and redefine your purpose. I think this is the point. I think This is great because, I was a little worried about the Five of Wands because, that's a conflict card and opposition and all the rest and disruptions, but Magician, it's like whatever, you'll take the negative and make it a positive. You will be a peaceful warrior. You will use your heart. You will use your tools as tools, not as weapons. So many are bringing voice, many talents are coming together through this and being sparked. So this is a frequency shift for the planet, honestly, that was long overdue and has been sparking in its own little, bonfires everywhere across the world, and little bits of hopeful little light. So see, Magician is sometimes just an idea and a thought for people, but for people who really walk the spiritual warrior path and who do the work along the way, this is a force to be reckoned with. A force to be reckoned with, because it will take strife and turn it into power. It will take loss and turn it into abundance. And it will take disillusionment. It will take disillusionment and turn it into clarity. Whew. So yeah, this is a shift. This is a massive, massive shift. How long I'll be here, I can't quite tell, but I do feel like overall this is going to be a very successful journey and a very successful sojourn. So be your magic. That's the thing too about the Magician. Each one of us has our own gifts, our own strengths, our own purpose, our own driving force, but we all come from the same God force of power, of energetic truth and laws that cannot be undermined, that must be upheld. So yeah, I feel like the spirits of all those that came before us, all of those peaceful warriors, all of those ignited, passionate people that were willing to stand up for rights and freedoms and all the rest. I mean, when you use natural elements in the right flow, then your reach is just beyond measure. So many blessings along the road.